What was the attraction for this project for both of you?
You can start there.
Yeah, sure. I love a game, right? I'm a big Frank West fan, and I love Dead Rising 2, and then with Chuck Green, what they did off the record, and I fell in love with that. But look, I like zombies, but I like the universe of Dead Rising. It's very unique. I don't know how much you play the game, but unlike other kind of zombie universes where the whole world is apocalyptic, right? It's this one area, and it's quarantine, and you know that in 3 days the place is going to get firebombed if you don't figure it out, right? And I love that. I love the ticking clock, right? I kind of think it's like 24, right? So 24 means Night of the Living Dead. And I thought it was a chance for us to tell a cool story and not try to be The Walking Dead or anything else, right? We can have some lightheartedness, but frankly, just, take your favorite IP in the world, take your favorite comic book, your favorite game, and think you're going to have a chance to turn this into a film, right? That's what was exciting about it.
For me, I think it was, I come from a game development background, so I've worked on a number of open world games where I'm crafting the story. That's usually if I'm working in gaming, I'm writing the story, and I'm always sort of thinking about, okay, well, how would I make this work in live action? And so even when I very first played Dead Rising, it was all about, okay, well, where's the through line in the movie to be found in here, and what are the things that are unique about it? The tone is extremely unique. The sort of, as you say, the setup and the sense that the rest of the world is watching this in the way that they watch hurricanes and other natural disasters, and there's sort of an almost voyeuristic appeal to it for outsiders that's sort of perverse, but it's definitely there. And then that it's a media event, and that it's also a political event, and it has sort of ramifications for the way the rest of the country operates. All of those things were really attractive and allowed us to tell a story that had all this different stuff going on.
Well, we were talking previously that there was an element of wish fulfillment for people who wanted to come to this kind of project, like they really wanted to just enact out those fantasies.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. It's I think a lot of people on our crew wanted to be part of a game project, and we had a TV set up inside the production office where people would go and play the game and pick other things up from it. I still see things when I watch, and I've watched this thing 500 times, 800. Who knows in editing, right? But I'll see that set decks were in there one day and put a whole bunch of stuff just in the background on the wall that they obviously got out of the game. No one came and said, hey, we want to do this, and can we have permission? They're just like, well, we're going to decorate it somehow. Might as well all be things that were in either Dead Rising 1, 2, or 3.
If you look at the cast as well, we did very well in the kind of cast we got, and they were passionate about trying to be in this universe, right? For instance, Jesse, I saw his tape, and he's a good actor, right? But he really kind of can play that action hero, and it's not something he had the opportunity to do before in his past. And if you watch it, I try to find the stunt man, try to find his stunt double. How many times does he appear?
In actual life, once.
Yeah. Jesse did it all of it.
And that was because there was no way in hell I was letting him do what he
he
would have done it.
He's
like,
in
no, you're not allowed.
Yeah, he's after day one. If you watch the show when he jumps off the side, he lands on this railroad tie.
Yeah.
He had a hematoma this big. It was day one of filming. His entire hip, black and blue. And same with Meghan. This gorgeous girl, you think she's going to break in half, but she wanted to be this action hero, and she was tough, right? So they all got into it, and and Virginia Madsen, Oscar caliber, and she's like, I like zombies. Can I kill? Can I be a zombie? And so everybody got excited about understanding that there's a different world out there, and another fan base that might see them in a different light as well. So the casting was a lot of fun on this.
If you had the chance, what franchise would you turn into another movie?
Well, we have a bunch.
What's number one?
Well, let's talk about one we'll never get. How about that?
Let's do that one.
Well, we can. I'll say something after you. We each have our favorites.
Yeah, I'll just talk about one. If the Uncharted series is great, right? Yeah, that would be. Look, we're not going to get any Naughty Dog titles.
Yeah.
Are we? Naughty Dog? That's the title.
Yeah.
Last of Us.
Ways down the road.
Ooh,
that would be fantastic.
That would be so good.
But we look for titles that are interesting to us, but we think we can adapt well to live action. So this is zombie, ninja, murder mystery, crime thriller, mafioso, things that will have its core audience, but we think can spill to a wider audience as well. Doesn't mean that there are fantasy-based games that we're really interested in.
Yeah.
My number one is a game that's kind of, I guess it's lost a bit of its popularity now, but Alan Wake. If you remember that, I would do anything. Remedy, anything.
That'd be so good.
I asked them for that title 3 times a year, religiously.
Between Remedy, it's almost to the point now where I need to talk to Remedy because they're like, oh, come on, we just can't listen to Tomas Harlan anymore.
I want that title so badly.
Dude, oh, that'd be so good.
Can you imagine?
That'd be so good.
It's The Shining meets Twin Peaks, right?
Yeah.
And we're shooting in the Pacific Northwest.
And look at Jesse. Doesn't he look like Alan Wake? We'll put him back in.
Yeah.
You'd probably do it in a heartbeat.
They came right to where we typically film to actually do all the plate shots to create the sets for Alan Wake. So it's literally from places where we can. And for me, it's XCOM. And I'm the other way. I actually have to stop talking to 2K because I'm just annoying the living hell out of them. But do XCOM as Battlestar Galactica. You got high-level politics, and you got then the guys, the action soldiers on the ground that are going to die like flies and are terrified the whole time. I played every XCOM game, including the board game. Wow. I wrote about the early XCOMs for computer gaming in the mid-90s. Like, that's how far back I go with that. So,
XCOM is such a great, weekly show.
Yeah.
It'd be really good.
What game would you like to see?
Oh, I would love a Metroid. I would love a Metroid movie. That would.
You and a lot of my friends, for sure.
It's my favorite series of all time. Or a Zelda thing would be good too.
Yeah.
But
right. Every rumor that comes out about that, notwithstanding, right?
Yeah.
How do you react when you see somebody like Virginia Madsen wants to come read for your movie? What do you think? You think, oh my God, that's never going to happen, or?
Well,
yeah,
it's funny when Tim was creating the character. I mean, we kind of used her as our prototype, right? I mean, both familiar with her work, and let's take a punt and see if we can get her, right? And reached out to the agents and this passionate plea. I mean, look, you can see we like these games, right? And we're going to tell the story, and it's going to be a huge fan base that's going to see you that may have not seen Sideways, right? I'm just saying, it's fantastic work, but that's appealed to a lot of people. And we're going on to our next projects, and same thing. It's like, hey, let's all get involved in this, and I have a very simple premise, which I think that video games are theoretically kind of the next comic books in terms of adaptation, and that the generation that grew up on video games is now moving into power and Hollywood. You'll still have your evergreen comic book properties for sure, right? They keep going, but a lot of video games need to be told, and I think they can be told better than they have in the past. I mean, we can all agree at this table that 98% of them, and even we still face challenges, don't get me wrong, but having a group in Hollywood that now appreciates and grew up in video games, and then having collaboratively, like Tim works with the dev studio and the publisher and everybody with the actual game to get the kind of look and feel of the characters and everything before we go to the studio to try to make something. I think this new model is evolving. I think we can tell some great stories.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because we always say the same thing, right? That the video games are the next comic books, and there's a transition in Hollywood, and it was actually for the first time as we're talking, we've said this 1,000 times. Like, we're part of that. We grew up playing video games and working on them, building them.